Let's face it, it's annoying to have banners, pop-ups, and ads cluttering your screen when you want to read the news, watch a YouTube video, download a file. All this is not only disturbing, but also a threat to the privacy and anonymity on the internet. Today we're going to talk about ad blockers. We'll break down a brief history and opposition to ad blockers, what ad blockers are, what types they are, what pros and cons do they have, and we will break down probably the most popular ad blocker, AdGuard. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you won't miss notifications about the new videos. So my name is Martin, let's get started. Most internet users who block ads name the main reason to do this: the ads are too annoying and intrusive. Another popular reasons are frighteningly abrupt video and audio ads, doubts about the safety of advertising content, and problems loading pages because of ads. The effectiveness of intrusive ads also raises questions. According to a joint study by HubSpot and Adblock 34% of users said they clicked on links from the ads by mistake, and 15% complained the advertisers tricked them into clicking the ads. Only 7% of respondents said that they had paid attention to ads deliberately because they were attracted to them. It's becoming clear that ad blockers doesn't just appear of thin air. They have developed a stable and powerful demand driven by the quality of ads and advertisers' communication with their audiences. People don't want to interact with bad ads, they don't want to waste their time and attention on them. And even if there were no blockers, the situation would not change for advertisers. Users would continue ignoring ads, although the number of negative emotions toward the brand would most likely increase. The beginning of the era of ad blocking dates back to the 1990s, as soon as advertising appeared on the web. In 1993, GNN, Global Network Navigator, the very first online ad service, was launched on October 27 of 1994. The world's first online commercial magazine, Hot Wired, published the world's first banner. 15 years later, the online advertising market is estimated to be worth more than $20 billion in the United States alone. Ads became ubiquitous, followed in 1996 by the development of the first ad blocker called Internet Fast Forward (IFF) at a small company called PrivNet. The $10 program created by James Howard allowed users to block ads, flashing text, web graphics, and cookies, a web program that tracks visitors' movement around a website. The IFF device, which works as a plugin for the Netscape browser, could also bypass lucrative advertising sites that direct visitors to popular search engines such as Yahoo or InfoSeek. From 1998 to 2003, all new blockers quickly began to appear, such as CyberSitter, WebWasher, AdGuard, Internet Junkbuster Proxy, Intermute, AdBunker, seventhly, AdBlocker. And that's not the whole list, but it became obvious that ad blockers were going to stick around for a long time. In 2003, the AdBlock add-on was first introduced by Henrik Sørensen. He literally posted the news on the Mozilla forum. Soon, with that name, AdBlock became synonymous, a household name for all ad blockers. And in 2006, the author stopped developing it and gave the project to Vladimir Palant, who changed the code of the program almost completely, taught the extension to block web requests, and named it Adblock Plus. Adblock Plus quickly became the most popular ad blocker in the world, but it was as important as around ABP that the ad blocking community has formed. Adblock Plus is an extension that uses the filter list, and they specify what it should block. The lists are created by the filter developers. One of the most famous filters was called Easy List. In early 2013, Google removed all ad blocking apps. Essentially, this move stopped the spread of ad blockers to mobile devices. Even though some Android apps exist today, the ad blocking community took a major hit. The aftermath of this decision still prevents ad blockers from growing on Android as fast as they did on computers. A legal battle began in December 2014. Several newspaper publishers, including Axel Springer and Die Zeit, sued Adblock Plus for interfering with the display of ads on their sites. The dispute lasted for years until finally in April 2018, the German Supreme Court ruled in favor of Adblock Plus. Ad blocking was declared legal. One of the most popular moments in the history of ad blocking on the internet was in September 2015 when Apple introduced iOS 9, a new version of its operating system for mobile devices. That's when support for extensions capable of blocking content appeared in the Safari browser. Adblock Plus and other providers of similar extensions for desktop browsers were able to publish their products for Safari in App Store. In August 2015, Adobe and PageFair released a study showing that the number of ad blockers installed has already surpassed 200 million internet users worldwide. This and other figures have greatly fueled interest in the issue. As a result, a debate has escalated beyond the professional community of marketers and advertisers and has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. The predictions about the consequences of the popularity of ad blockers have only increased, and more users have become aware of this anti-advertising trend. In 2016, Google, along with several companies, created the Coalition for Better Ads. The organization didn't come out of thin air. Of course, responsible advertisers tries to pay attention to creating interesting creatives that fit into content. However, smaller brands often take the easier route. All of this led to the appearance of banners that caused only irritation, for example, popping up on the entire screen of your cell phone. That's what the coalition has been calling for. The CBA coalition has identified 12 types of ads that are considered by users to be the least acceptable and most likely to make them use blockers. Google has announced a transition to its Manifest v3 browser extension development platform. The transition is expected to be finalized by the summer of 2023. Now, developers are worried that many extensions might work with bugs and ad blockers will become useless. Since Chrome 88, it's been able to work with Manifest v3 and support extension or both for the old and new platforms. Now, the company's blog post about the complete transition to Manifest v3, extensions powered by Manifest v2 are not available in the Chrome app starting January 17, 2022, and those will be discontinued in January 2023. Experts have noted the limitations of the Web Request API, which allows extensions, including ad blockers, to intercept requests, redirect them, and modify the return value. Now, developers will have to work with the Declarative Net Request API, which delegates the processing of requests to the browser itself, which in turn can reject operations deemed undesirable or dangerous to the user. The update could render a number of popular ad blockers useless. Google has repeatedly said that ad blockers deprive many popular sites of earnings and are a problem for the advertising business development. Despite this, the company joined the Coalition of Better Ads in 2018 and began limiting the flood of intrusive banner ads on websites. Ad blockers deprive websites and ad networks of some of their revenue, so this category of program is disliked by many companies, including Google, which owns contextual advertising service Google Ads that brings the lion's share of their revenue. Thus, in the end of the second quarter of 2021, the advertising business has brought the American giant a revenue of $57 billion, 69% more than during the same period in 2020. With the share of advertising placed in the branded search service, Google accounted for $35 billion. With this in mind, there have been earlier suggestions that Google is intentionally making life difficult for ad block developers. In addition, the corporation in its 2018 report to the United States Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) explicitly cited emerging ad blocking technology as a threat to its business. What's interesting? Write comments on what else would you add to the story of ad blockers and advertisers standoffs. So, what ad blockers are and how they work. The simplest and shortest answer to this question is that ad blocker prevents the browser or application from loading unwanted advertising elements of its content. A blocker prevents communication between the program displaying the web page, such as the browser, and the servers from which advertising elements such as banners, ads, videos, pop-ups, and so on are downloaded. Or other elements it is designed to block, such as statistic counters or social network buttons. The very first ad blockers was based on a different principle. They would hide from the user's eyes advertising elements that have already been loaded to the page. This method is now used as auxiliary in some programs. We can also recall the browser extensions that hide text on specific topics from sites and social networks by targeting keywords. The first and most important thing to understand is that ad blocking on the internet is not based on artificial intelligence or on self-learning neural networks, but on manual labor, not only by developers but also by the community, which develops so-called filters or filter lists. When you visit a site, the ad blocker instantly checks to see if it's on one of these filter lists. If it is, the request for external content is blocked and no ads are loaded onto the page. Essentially, ad blocking technology is a set of rules set in these filter lists that determine what content to block or not to block on the pages you visit. The relevance of filter lists is usually maintained by a third-party community that is not affiliated with the ad blocker developers or ad companies. A filter can describe the different aspects by which it will recognize an item: appearance, behavior, the address of the resource from which the item is downloaded, anything that can be described in code language. Criteria for separating ads from everything else are usually determined by the will of the founder of the particular filter, taking into account the opinion of the community that helps to form it. The most popular set of filters is called Easy List. It doesn't belong to any particular blocker, but is used in most popular products including Adblock Plus, uBlock Origin, and AdGuard. Within Easy List and other filter projects, there are separate filters for different language segments of the internet and for different types of elements that users want to block. Classic advertising, banners, pop-ups, counters, ad trackers, social network button on websites, content that is not recommended for children, and so on. Thus, a user who wants to remove banners but has nothing against social network buttons may not connect all the filters at once. In addition, ad blocking often prevents trackers from tracking site visitors. These trackers are often used by advertisers to gather information about visitors, where they're coming from, what they're doing on the site, what other sites they're looking at, and to use that information for personalized targeting. The most common method of ad blocking is browser integration. Indeed, all common browsers offer some sort of filtering to increase user security and privacy, but the browser's own ad blocking software can be quite crude, so browser extensions are a popular add-on. This content filtering software includes popular ad blockers such as Adblock and Adblock Plus. Adblocker provides users with several major benefits: privacy, security, performance, and blocking non-decent content. Let's break it down in more detail. Ads on the internet are dangerous in terms of privacy. In most cases, ads are downloaded through networks on third-party domains. There is sophisticated software there to track users' online activities, the so-called trackers. When you do your business on the internet, trackers compile your profile. This profile may end up containing personal information including your age, address, family and friend list, what you look online, etc. This could be all the information trackers can find about you. Why do they need it? To show you ads that are supposedly more likely to make you buy the advertised product, or to sell that information to someone else for the same purpose. Internet advertising is more than just advertising. It is a full-fledged surveillance tool by which outsiders violate your privacy. In the past, the online advertising industry relied heavily on the use of media or banner ads. However, these animated video or audio banners required the use of third-party JavaScript and Flash files. These programs also allowed the use of malicious code, which caused viruses and malware to proliferate en masse. While ad blocking alone does not provide enough antivirus protection, it can be a useful tool to reduce the risk of your computer becoming infected by a virus. A computer or mobile device can pick up malware simply by accessing an ad blocking site. Malvertisements are those advertisements through which malicious software is distributed. You go to a site, the page is loaded with viruses-infected ads, then these viruses are downloaded to your device unnoticed and there is nothing you can do about it. The user is not required to click any buttons, the ads are downloaded automatically. What kind of viruses are spread by these ads? They may exploit vulnerables on your browser or operating system to steal personal data. Or it could be a ransomware app that encrypts your files and asks for ransom for their return. Performance. Today's websites consist of several elements that add up in terms of performance. While a website often tries to focus on performance issues and improving user interaction, ad providers usually create ads without paying attention to performance issues. This means that once a user visits the site, the ad provider may load a number of ad tags that include images, megabytes of video, audio files, etc. All these can slow down the loading of the page. Downloading and displaying ads requires system resources on your device, which are taken away from more important tasks. Mobile devices are the first to suffer. On smartphones, ads can appear not only in the browser but also in numerous installed apps. Thus, users can be affected by ads even if they don't launch a browser. A 2016 study found that mobile ads can consume 75% of your internet channel and nearly half of your traffic. Since then, mobile network speeds have increased, but ads also consume more and more resources. All of this reduces the length of time of your devices can run unplugged, as it increases resource consumption and battery life. No matter how much traffic is consumed by advertising, you will have to pay for it. Thus, a noticeable portion of your internet speeding is spent on earnings by strangers who litter your device with unnecessary garbage or outright dangerous malicious apps. The AppSync component. It is very difficult to predict what pop-up window may open up when you go to a particular website. If it's an advertisement for some gadgets, what if it's something of a pornographic nature? And you and your small child were looking at a photo and then suddenly a picture of a very obscene nature popped up. Users usually don't have to face any serious disadvantages when using an ad blocker. But there are those who argue that ad blockers undermines the infrastructure of the internet. According to them, using an ad blocker can have unintended consequences that can ultimately harm people and business. Perhaps the most significant drawback is the financial cost businesses face as a result of ad blocking. This process can be detrimental to both publishers, advertising agents, and the companies that advertise their products and services. Publishers and advertisers are often paid based on the number of ads shown. Because blocked ads are not counted as seen, publishers lose revenue. Businesses also suffer because people don't see the ads they place. They may have already invested in an ad campaign, but without the audience to view the ads, they are unlikely to achieve the desired goals of their investment. The loss of revenue can be detrimental to websites. Quite a few sites actually generate revenue from display ads, and because those ads, that is the source of revenue, and removed, the site and its content can suffer. It is important to note that ad blockers do not distinguish between so-called good ads and bad ads. While certain ads and advertising strategies can be intrusive and annoying, there are also good examples of useful ads on the internet. Unfortunately, ad blocking targets both types equally. The same is true for different tracking systems. While there are real concerns about privacy, many companies can benefit by measuring and understanding user behavior. Analyzing this information can ultimately lead to a better user experience, which is directly hindered by ad blocker usage. Who do you think is right here? We look forward to see your comments. Types of ad blockers. You've made sure that you need tools to ensure your privacy and block the ads that clog up your online life. Now let's take a look at 5 ways to block ads and take a closer look to all these solutions. The most common ad blocking method is browser integration. Indeed, all common browsers offer some sort of filtering to increase user security and privacy. But the browser's own ad blocking software can be quite crude, so browser extensions are popular add-ons. This content filtering software includes popular ad blockers such as Adblock, Adblock Plus, and uBlock Origin. Users can also use external programs. These can be configured by HTTP proxies to filter certain content. Under this model, ads are filtered before their content is even displayed. These external programs include examples such as NetNanny and Squid. The advantage is that they can extend the content that the software blocks. For example, in addition to blocking ads, these programs can block offensive or inappropriate content. Browser extensions are easy to install, but they do have drawbacks. For example, they depend on the willingness of the browser developer to let them work or not. Since many popular browsers are developed by large corporations that make money from advertising, this creates a contradictory situation. Individual ad blocker applications are independent of browsers. One app eliminates ads on your entire device. If you have multiple browsers on your computer or smartphone, you won't have to install an extension on each one. Ads in other apps will also be blocked. For example, Microsoft apps and the Windows 10 system itself can show ads too. Blockers in browser extensions are incapable of eliminating it, unlike individual apps. It is also possible to edit the host file and the associated IP address. This means that when you browse the internet, the ad servers change to a local or non-existent IP address and thus blocks the display of ads. This method is often used to prevent trackers. DNS is a domain name system, therefore the anti-advertising DNS filtering works similarly to the host file editing described above, with the same disadvantages and limitations. AdGuard also uses this approach in its iOS app, since the system offers fewer opportunities to work with traffic. On the other hand, this method is quite unique in its cross-platform nature. It will provide anti-advertising for all devices connected to the internet, including the Internet of Things form. For smart TVs, fridges, and other smart home devices, you can set not only anti-promotion, but also filtering of outgoing traffic, that is, to limit marketing surveillance. Now let's take a look at AdGuard Adblocker. It is one of the most popular and quality ad blockers for different operating systems and devices. You can install it on Windows, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Also, the developer of this application has an extension for browsers and other privacy products. In addition to ad blocking, AdGuard offers parental control features, phishing protection, and anonymity. The flagship product is the application for Windows computers. The application has a fairly simple interface. It works great with the default settings, but you can change them if you want. If you don't need all the functionality of a separate app, there is an extension for browsers from the same developer. The website says that while the extension has some limitations compared to the standalone apps, it does a good job of blocking ads and trackers too, and it does it for free. On the AdGuard website, you can find out the functionality of particular app or extension. AdGuard prices, though, can be confusing. Several products have a free version, while a single application requires a 1-year subscription with a monthly fee. You can also buy the app forever. The cost depends on the number of devices you intend to protect, as well as the availability of discount coupons. Protecting 3 devices can cost at least $30 per year. When working with the standalone AdGuard app, you should keep in mind that it loads processor and consumes RAM constantly, unlike the extensions in your browser. AdGuard also offers a free ad-blocking DNS server. It can be used wherever you can specify DNS manually in the settings. These include routers as well as devices like computers, smartphones, and others. The website said that AdGuard DNS is a reliable way to protect against ads on the internet, with which you do not need to install any application. It's a simple free option that's easy to set up on any device to block ads, counters, malicious and adult sites. AdGuard DNS blocks ads and trackers at the DNS service level, so there are no advanced AdGuard app features here. But ads are blocked throughout the device, and the company's privacy policy permits not to keep logs of DNS queries. AdGuard DNS supports DOH, DOT, DOQ, and DNS script to protect your DNS queries from being spied on by your ISP or anyone else. Conclusion: ad blocking today is very different from what it was in its heyday. The blockers themselves have changed radically. Most importantly, and at the same time the most bizarre and confusing, ad blocking is no longer about blocking ads per se. Ads are no longer just ads, they are used to monitor you and your actions. And no one likes that. What's more, most people can put up with the ads they see, the one they accidentally slip through, but will instantly react to surveillance of any kind. Unlike their predecessors, the ad blockers of the future must adapt and take on the new role of privacy advocate. There is no single best ad blocker. Depending on the circumstances, different ad blockers perform differently. Think about your scenarios for using the internet, and then match your ad blocker to that scenario. If you don't know where to start, you can try a separate AdGuard app for your operating system. The feature set may vary from version to version, but in any case your privacy should remain intact. There are also additional features like phishing protection and parental controls. So write in the comments, how do you fight ads on the internet and what ad blockers do you use? And don't forget to like, subscribe and click on the bell to get notification about our new cool videos. So see you next time. Bye.